Hello. Thank you for tuning into my channel. It has been a little while, a little longer than I have liked, but I need to get into hermit mode sometimes. So I don't like putting out content when my energy tells me not to. So I had some free time today. I've been extremely busy. I hope all is well. Energy is crazy these past few weeks, so I'm sure a lot of people are going through things. So I just wanted to pull a few cards for anyone that needed to hear it. So 3 popped out, and hopefully one of these cards resonates with you. So when you speak openly and honestly, you won't have to make assumptions. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly and achieve impeccability with your word. I don't know if you'll be able to see these. It might be backwards. When you speak openly and honestly, you won't have to make assumptions. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly and achieve impeccability with your word. So I can relate to this because I'm pretty direct when I communicate, and I often question myself, should I hold back? So clearly you shouldn't hold back. If you are communicating and you're being honest and you're being direct, and people don't, they can't handle that, that doesn't mean that you should tone yourself down. They need to be a little more receptive to communication that comes their way. Because when you're open and honest and clear, you don't have to assume that you got the message across, or assume that someone misinterpreted you. So if you're not being direct and you're one of those people that likes to beat around the bush because you're scared to speak openly and freely, because you are either sensitive and you don't want the backlash of that, or you feel like you need to tiptoe around somebody else's feelings and how they're going to interpret what you say, this is a sign for you to open up that communication, and then open up that door to have the second conversation about what exactly you mean. So if you say something directly and if it comes off harsh, you also have to follow that up with a less a conversation where you're just explaining this is what I meant by that, and don't take it the wrong way. Let's have an open, clear conversation about it. Because people come to assumptions because they don't directly communicate with you, and they'll communicate in circles. And I find myself in that as well, where there's so many conversations going on around you, but nobody's having that conversation directly with you. And they need to, because if they're upset with you, or they have a problem with you, or they want you to do something, we're not mind readers. Some of us are. Some of us can sense moods and feelings and vibrations. But why should I have to feel some type of way because the mood or vibration of an environment is off, because you're not telling me what your problem is? So hopefully that can relate to some of you. And then the second one was, find the courage to ask for what you want. Others have the right to tell you yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. Likewise, everybody has the right to ask you for what they want, and you have the right to say yes or no. So this is about setting boundaries. Again, if you're not communicating directly and you're beating around the bush, you cannot get upset at other people for not doing what you need to do in whatever situation that is. If it's a living situation, a work situation, a relationship situation, this is all about communicating and opening your throat chakra and speaking in a blunt way without fear of backlash. Maybe you were suppressed, or maybe you assume that people should do things the way you do things, but you can't assume those things. You have to, communication is key in every relationship in your life, if it's a business relationship, personal relationship, whichever. So you have to practice. You have to practice being a little more outspoken, a little more direct, and start in small bits. And then if you are that type of person that is a yes person, or you feel obliged to do things every time somebody asks you to do, you have to learn whether to say yes and when to say no. Every relationship is a give and take, and you have to set those boundaries, and you have to set them in a way where you're not feeling remorse or regret for not doing something, because people are not going to know unless you tell them if something bothers you. If you're always saying yes, if you're always showing up to work, or staying late, or doing something that bothers you, like cleaning the dishes, or doing somebody's laundry, or just something simple or something large, and you're constantly saying yes and doing things, or if maybe you're always saying no, and maybe that bothers somebody, because maybe somebody expects you to help them out a little bit more. So definitely, this is all so far about communicating. You can't be mad at anybody but yourself for not setting boundaries and rules and guidelines. Your best will depend on whether you are refreshed in the morning or tired at night. Your best will be different when you are happy as opposed to upset, or healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So this is about self-care. I always relate to this card because, again, I think I pulled this a few videos back. You need self-care. You can't run yourself to the ground. Sometimes we have to run ourselves to the ground in order to make a living, or in order to keep things afloat. But make sure that as you're doing these things, you're saying no to the extra stuff that you should not be doing, and you're communicating when no, I can't do this for you today, because today is my day to take care of me and myself. So as much as it may hurt people, maybe it's all in your head, and you're all like making a big deal about things, and maybe you forgot that people support you, or maybe you're not used to people supporting you, but people think that you're invincible and great and you could do all of these things because you never turn anything down, and in reality you're suffering internally, or you're too tired, or whatever the case is. So work on it. Work on your communication. Work on taking care of yourself. Work on having like honest communication. And if somebody does get offended for it, then they don't have your best interest in heart. And maybe you're scared of that, but you have to put yourself first. And if they don't like it too fucking bad. Have a good day, everybody.